Well, Benji, welcome in to our very first episode of the HigherUp podcast.
Man, it's pretty exciting, dude. Pretty exciting.
We're here. I think you'd had this idea for this podcast. I mean, probably like a year ago now, maybe.
Yeah, I think it actually started December of 2021. We came up with the idea, and it's just taking a while to get all the puzzle pieces together. But man, here we go. Here we go.
We're here. And so we're giving this thing a shot and trying it out and seeing what it's all about. Man, I love podcasts and I listen to them all the time. I don't know about you, but I mean, I listen to them in the gym in the morning and in the car. And I have all different types of podcasts that I'm constantly listening to, just gaining knowledge, basically, just listening to other people. And I'm hoping that people will want to do the same with ours, man.
No, absolutely. And to your point, that's what today's world is, right? People want to always learn. They got audio books and all, but hey, podcasts are a great tool and a great resource for other people to gain knowledge. So that's what we're trying to do here, is inspire other people.
Yeah. And I feel like we're really good at talking. We joke a lot that we're bad about scheduling meetings, but we're good at, hey, come in here, close the door real quick. Let's have a conversation, And so I'm hoping that's what this whole thing is like, is one of those roundtable conversations. I mean, we had one just today. It was an hour.
Oh, yeah.
It bounced all over the place.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure other people do the same. I mean, and again, we're trying to inspire other people with the things that we've learned over the last several years and decades and what have you. So again, hopefully it's just an inspiration to someone.
Hopefully somebody, man, even if it's one person, I hope somebody's listening. I promise you, if you're listening right now and you're like, what is this? It will get better. This is a first for both of us. Benji is very familiar with being in the limelight, and we'll get into that in a little bit more. I am not at all. I am not somebody that's in this position. I mean, let's just jump into that. Let's just go ahead and jump into, somebody listening right now. Who are these two crazy fools that I'm listening to? Why would I listen to them? What do they even have to share with me? What knowledge could they possibly give me that would lead me, whether I'm walking to work or driving in a car or sitting in my office? Like, what do they have to benefit my life? So,
well, I think it's good that we try to, connect on a level that, where do we come from? Yeah, because that's important. It's important to know where we came from, what we're doing, and where we want to go for the future. So that's what we're going to do.
Oh, I mean, 100%. I honestly feel like that's what it is. And I feel like that will help a lot with who we are and the things we can share. So let me jump in. We'll take a moment and just share a little bit about each other before we talk more into, just about this podcast, what it's going to be and where it's going to go, just so you guys kind of know. First and foremost, my name is Adam West.
Love it.
Yes, it is. If you're listening, you can probably tell your age generation. If you say just Batman, you're in my parents' age. My parents are in their 60s. And
are you calling me old? No, I'm not 60, but I know what Adam West with Batman is.
Do you know who the other Adam is, though? That's my question. Do you know who the other Adam West is?
I do not, actually.
So see, so you fall into I'm not saying you're my parents' age, but you fall into a different generation. I fall in the middle. My name is, but Adam West, there is Batman, the original, when you could be overweight and out of shape and still be a superhero. And then there is the Mayor West from Family Guy. That's probably typically, your kids will probably only know that side, will know the Adam West Family Guy. So, yes, it is. I feel like I'm an everything. By day, I am technically a director of marketing. I handle digital marketing, social media. Passion in what I do. I am a photographer, videographer, entrepreneur. Hoping one day to add filmmaker to that title list.
Just for the record, he's really good. He's really good, dude.
I appreciate it. One of the things you guys will learn about Benji is the dude's a hype man. Okay. He's a hype man. He's a pump man. Not negative at all. I will be the side of that always, when we have conversations, I'm always let's code red. This is what it could be. So, but that is what I do. I work actually for a mitigation company. We'll get into that a little bit more. If you haven't already figured out, Benji is somebody that I work for. That's how this relationship really was built and founded. I began working for him almost 5 years ago now.
Yeah,
almost,
for sure.
It doesn't feel like it. So it's been almost 5 years, which is crazy for me. Never in a million years thought I'd be in marketing, and I don't have an educational background in it. My background is recreational management. I worked for YMCAs for about 10 or 12 years, all through college, loved it, enjoyed it. Went into the field for being an aquatics director. I started as a lifeguard, and that's how I got into it. But I also am new to the entrepreneurship. Recently have started my own media company. Right now, I mean, I hope I get to where I can do some videos and things like that. Right now, I'm just doing some SEO, some Google business updates, website updates for some friends of mine that were very generous. Said, "Hey, I'll hire you," and just to get some of that retention going. So that's kind of where I am. I do a lot with our local church. Benji and I, you'll probably hear as we talk more, Benji and I attend the same church. I consider myself part of a creative team. I haven't really moved back into management of people yet. I've really enjoyed. I'm just going to tell you, Benji, I've really enjoyed, and I'm sure you manage a team of like 250 people, but I have very much enjoyed not managing people. What you have to know, where I started at managing was teenagers. And every summer,
that can be difficult. That can be difficult.
80 of them. 60 to 80 of them. And then the worst part was having those kids whose parents thought they worked for me, not the kid.
So I keep reminding Adam of this all the time. Think about when we were teenagers, for those of you that are listening, where we came from. And it would be nice to have someone that could mentor them, or mentor us even back then. So we're working through that, but I get it. Totally get it.
Yeah. I mean, I look back and it's always cool to me to see the folks that work for me. And like, I've seen some of these kids get married. I mean, I had kids that they would start out literally taking swimming lessons with us and then moving up. I always enjoyed that. But I'm going to be 100% real with you. The nonprofit life was not for me. It was rough. It was tough.
I can imagine. Yeah.
It was just hard working for a company that everything's built on building their family, right? I mean, that's what we did. And it's what we're supposed to do. That's what the why was there for. It was fine when my wife and I didn't have any kids. It wasn't a big deal. But as we got started to start a family, it just kind of got tough because, weekends when people are off, they were coming to the center, the YMCA. And so it got to be kind of a tough place. So I was like, I think it's time for a change. It's time for a change. So, but yeah, I mean, should we? I mean, I'm just thinking, like, do we need to share how we met and then moved into you? Like,
so I think it's important because I'll never forget. Well, back, I don't know. This is again 5 years ago, but I used to look at all the resumes coming into our organization, and
before you say that, I just need to preface that one of the things I did is I applied twice. And the funny thing was, each time that one of the people, the hiring people, called me, I had already changed into a different position. So by the time that happened, it was just kind of funny. But I remember my wife was like, "You got to find something else." Like at the time I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods, I did enjoy it. I was doing logistics. It was great. Didn't have to work the normal hours. She's like, "You got to find something else." So I was like, "Well, let me send an email to this company," and somehow a God thing.
Yeah. No, so I saw this resume come through and I said, I have got to interview this guy. If his name is Adam West, I'm going to interview this guy because Batman was one of my favorite superheroes growing up. And so I did. Matter of fact, our manager at the time, I got him to come in and he interviewed Adam. He basically said, "Hey, I've got this great candidate for this new position we were looking to do. Our headquarters, we're an independently owned and operated franchise system, which we'll hear about more later. But basically, he said, hey, we're going to be moving into the social media and digital world. And I had always had a vision to have a media company with videography, photography, whatever, to help take us to another level. And of course, Adam comes in for an interview. He interviewed with our manager. I interviewed with Adam and the manager at the same time. Adam leaves the room. The manager looks at me and says, hey, we found our next guy. I said, what do you mean? And he said, because I've never asked someone in an interview, hey, would you pull up some of your work that you've done before?
Yeah,
and
I was nervous because at the time I didn't even have a page. Like my only page was we were doing student ministry at the time at our local church.
Yeah. And I said, can you just show me something you've done? And they showed me a video of something they had done in their student ministry. Yep. And I was like, I can work with that because I have a vision. Obviously, I don't do the video and the photo and stuff like that. But if I can build a team around us that can do that and take that on, it'll help take our company to another level, which it has. Yep. So the manager said, this is what's funny. The manager said, I've hired my guy. I can't wait. And I said, no, you're not going to hire him. He said, what? What do you mean we're not going to hire him? I said, you're not going to hire him. I'm going to hire him, and he's going to come work for me, and he's going to do X, Y, Z for our company. And he said, fair enough. And the rest is history.
So hey, look, it worked out because right after that, we hired a guy who is now our director of human resources. So it was again, you'll find out, listen to this. We believe God has a plan for everything. And that's exactly where it was at the time.
And at the end of the day, that's why we do what we do. So just a little bit about me. I know Adam told you who he was. Just a little bit about me. My name is Benji Wilson. Me and my brother own a very large mitigation company, nationally known. And we also have a media company that we own now. We've owned that for about the last, it's been actually a year at this time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was before that because y'all had a little bit more, but it's a full year, like you're legal and everything.
Yeah. And we have, we're also involved in the automotive industry. We're involved in the, I'm going to call it sports entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
We do some of that. So
hopefully we get to talk more about that because y'all will want to hear.
That is going to be an episode.
I mean, you can go ahead. I mean, I think you don't have to name what it is, but you can basically tell them we're talking like esports. Let's just be real.
Esports stuff. Exactly. It's really cool stuff. But anyway, I'm also, in my spare time, I'm a worship pastor at our church and very involved with our lead pastor to help. Our job, Adam and I's job, is to help implement his vision. Mm-hmm. And, we get to do a lot. From a creative
standpoint. Luckily, you kind of get one side and I get the other, along with other teams. We have other people on our team.
We have a lot of teammates. That's the thing. It's not just us. We've got other people. But I'm also, first and foremost, besides I am a Christ follower, I am a Christian, and I am a husband.
So if you're leading worship at a church, I would surely hope that you are a follower of Jesus.
And I am a husband. I am a father, first and foremost. So that it does take a lot of time, but my family they do come first in everything that we do. Although sometimes my wife would say otherwise.
You're going to make me look bad because my wife's going to listen to this.
Oh, you mentioned your wife. You did.
I mentioned her, but I didn't tell her I have an amazing wife with two beautiful kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old. So yeah, she's going to be like, oh, well, Benji mentioned his family. I'm like, it's always funny because when we spend time together and hang out, we always get to hear our wives talk about the things that we need to be better at.
Oh yeah. I love my wife, Sarah. We have 3 kids, Sammy, Malin, and Mackenzie. And life is busy. We're involved in sports, school functions as everyone else. But we're very blessed. And the Lord has blessed and entrusted us with a lot. And we have a big responsibility. And so that's part of the reason why we wanted to launch this podcast, is to help inspire, like we said earlier, other people to be able to do the same.
Yeah, and as we kind of dive into why even do a podcast, that's something, I mean, you and your brother always tell us we're not just responsible for our own family, but we're responsible really for 200 and something other people and then their family as well. So it's an extended, I mean, at the end of the day, the two of you basically are probably responsible for anywhere between 400 and 500 people is what y'all say all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why I think things like this is important, because that's a mindset I feel like that's a mindset to have, because having that mindset, realizing that just because that individual is working for you, or in any spectrum, on your level as a business owner, or even down to mine, just hiring a buddy to say, hey, I need your help on a video project. He could have a wife and kids, and he's like, I need this check.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true, because having that many employees, we wake up every day and go, okay, we leave our families at home, and we go to work just like everyone else do. And it's a huge responsibility to know that we're not just supporting those, 250 employees, but we're also responsible for their family too. Because if we don't provide for them, they don't get to provide for their family.
Yeah.
We have a saying that, we want to take everything that the Lord has given us and entrusted us and be able to give more. And we want to we're not talking about just financially. We're talking about financially, physically, spiritually, whatever the case may be, that we can give, because we do believe that you can't outgive God. And if He gives you He gives you the tools, you need to use them, because obviously He's going to give you the desires of your heart. The Word says that. But we have to do our part as well. So,
and I think something too, just as we're on this subject, that's always important, just with you guys, is we're moving into a new culture where, granted, what we do is really takes up the majority of our time with our full-time jobs and things like that. But our industry is very emergency service. And I understand, like, it's 24/7,
Yeah.
I mean, during Christmas, our teams were working hard because of a storm that came through. But what I do enjoy about what you and your brother do, even down to the management team and stuff, is that I feel like we've moved into a new culture where it's not just kill yourself, drive in and be there when the sun comes up, and leave when the sun goes down.
Yeah.
And you guys are really good with the teams about understanding, hey, things happen, life happens. And, and understanding that it's not a matter of how many hours a day you're sitting at your desk. It's a matter of your product at the end of the day. What do your numbers look like? Like, how are you? Because that's what you guys believe shows the true value of a company. You're saying, like, look, if you're killing it and you're doing what you're doing, you're keeping the company rolling. And I think that's big, because what the whole point of what I'm saying is, as you do that, you build a culture with team, and it keeps them around. We hear your brother tell us all the time, if we take care of y'all, we know you'll take care of us.
Yeah. I mean, to that point, we have a saying, Adam, that, I've said this for a number of years. You've heard everything that we do currently and have done, but I used to coach a softball team. Okay. And I used to tell the girls that I coached all the time, coached them for 10 years. And I would tell them, you can only control what you can only control. And we say that in our companies all the time. We can only control how we respond. Look at the pandemic we just came through, within the last year and a half, 2 years. You can't control what happened in the pandemic, but you can control how you react to the pandemic. Yeah. And we have to choose. We've had to do things different. We've had to do things better. We've had to make a lot of changes. But at the same time, we want to do what's best for us and our family being our folks as well. So it works both ways.
Yeah, it's a team thing. So, well, as we move into that a little bit, I think that kind of spills over into, the whole point of this podcast. We knew we just had to pull the trigger and get it rolling, and the rest would come. So, the whole podcast is, the HigherUp podcast of Benji Wilson. So before we get into like what that is about, tell me a little bit and just share with our listeners, I mean, why a podcast? There's so many things you could do. You already have your hand in so many different angles, and so many different places. Why a podcast?
No, it's a good question.
Other than I feel cool with all this stuff. I'm just going to be real for a second.
Yeah, it is cool. But at the same time, here's the thing. You see so many other people trying to inspire, and just they're inspiring, maybe in let's say the church world, they inspire to do audio, and I'm going to, or it's branding. We have some great friends who do branding. We're going to try to get them on the show. You have, folks that are doing a lot of big creative stuff. They're full time. That's what they do. So this is a little bit, it's similar, but it's a little bit different, because I had a dream, again, 2, 5, 10 years ago, to have a leadership podcast. And this is going to play a little bit of role into that. But obviously, a lot
things
of
changed a little bit. I
Yeah,
remember the whole point was to be leadership. We're like,
how do you compare to John Maxwell and Craig Groeschel and the guys who do that very, very well, right?
Yeah.
So what can we do to get that same level that there's business owners, there's managers, there's people out there that have a desire to
church world, business world, creative world. I mean,
whatever it could be, they have a desire to do more, to be better, to live a higher up mentality. That was the idea that spun behind this, because take a church, for instance, the average church in America is 100 people or less, the average.
Mm-hmm.
So how many churches do they know how to go, get more people in their doors? It's outside the four walls. So it's stuff like that we can take our business mind and help the local church, and vice versa. The local church can get involved with business folks in the community to really do more in their community.
Well, and this may be controversial, and let's just start it. The best thing I heard is bad publicity is still good publicity. Somebody, if we're getting hated, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is, I still think the church, at the end of the day, it needs to be treated like a business.
It does.
It's got its own, it's got its own literature and way of life and things like that. I get all that, but if you look at some of those concepts, there's a lot of things churches could do more, like with their, let's just be, we'll get into this more, but like Google Business or marketing or social media, or even things like just marketing door to door. And there's a lot of things that you could do to do that. And then not just that, but like how you're hiring your staff, how you're spending your money, what are you doing? Like, I think there's a lot of things that are important for the church world that you can come from a business mindset. So that's why we're really hoping, we don't want this just to be, it's not just a Christian, faith podcast. You're going to see and hear us talk about our faith. That's what it is. If that's not where you're at, then that's fine, because people can still work together and do things. Just because you're not there doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean I'm hoping through, getting to know someone that a seed's planted and things change.
Right.
But I think what you can do is find that partnership between those and how do those work together. I recently was listening to a podcast where it's a guy that used to be a believer who's not a believer anymore with a guy that is a believer, and they share about their experiences with things.
Yeah. I'm on our church council team, Adam. I'm the administrator with the finances with a team that, personnel. So there's a lot of different angles of that I'm able to, the Lord has entrusted me, and I don't want to take that lightly. He's entrusted me to be in the position to help other people. And that's what I want to do. I have a desire. One of my big passions is helping entrepreneurs succeed. I've helped you try to get your thing rolling,
I can't believe that's where I'm at.
Your CPA, you're getting your business entity set up. And I
still don't even know what an LLC is. I'm just throwing that. So that's why I'm like, look, we on two different ends of the spectrum here. This man's got like several businesses.
But I'll be honest,
I just signed up for QuickBooks for the first time, and I'm trying to figure out I can't even figure out how to get hey, let me help you get your business set up off my screen. I'm like, I got my bank account done. I know how to get things. I know I can send an invoice and I can receive money.
Yeah. But, honestly, I don't have all the answers either, but I've taken a lot of people have given me advice over the years, and I guess the best thing I can do is give back to the community, whether it's someone listening in the car right now or someone watching on YouTube or, whatever the case may be. So I'm really excited
I'm sharing
to get
something
rolling.
that like 5 years from now, I look down the road and I think, man, back in April of 2023, I'm sitting there being like, what's an LLC?
I understand. And that's what we encourage people. Try to get debt free. Use the Dave Ramsey plan, because it will help you drastically. My brother is a certified FPU instructor, and he's a genius with this stuff.
Oh man, I've started, and this is probably way off topic, but I started following him on like TikTok and stuff. And man, I was watching one today, and it was this family. They've got almost $1 million in debt, and they make $250,000 a year married. I'm like, how do you make that much money?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you put yourself, so it's just like you said, hopefully this is something to help you guys, or, guys and gals think, differently before you make business choices or before you purchase something. I mean, like in my head, I'm seeing my QuickBooks tell me, oh, and projected, you're going to bring in X amount of money in 4 months. And I'm like, babe, I'm ready to buy that camera.
Can't get the cart before the horse.
I know.
Cannot do that.
I'm like, look, if I get it now and somebody needs work, I can say, hey, I got the gear. But it's teaching me patience. Yep. It's teaching patience. It's good for us. We are a testament to that. We are, we're debt free. The only thing we have debt is a car that you and your wife convinced my wife she should buy. So,
hey, you got to take care of your wife, man.
The two of y'all, I swear. Like, just know if anything ever happens, I'm gonna tell it's y'all fault. We're gonna be knocking on y'all's door. So, but I mean, for us, I can attest to that. Even during the years when I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods on an hourly rate, it was tough. We didn't have the money at all, and I remember we always were faithful to make sure we tithed. Yeah. And here's what's crazy: we always tithed first, and we would. Most people think this sounds stupid, but we tithed first. If we had more bills or groceries, we put on a credit card. And I can tell you, we don't have a credit card anymore. I can tell you,
that's awesome.
Doing that, we pushed almost $10,000 of credit card debt, and we were able to get rid of it.
You remember earlier when I said you can't outgive God? I'm telling you, you stay faithful to Him. I have helped several people through this because some people believe.
Preach this till I'm blue in the face.
Some people believe it's, they say time, talents, and treasures, but they just stick on time and talents.
And, right? And I'll admit, I heard my dad told me one time, you'll probably hear me talk. My dad was a pastor. He heard somebody one time. He shared a story about a lady that was pulling money out of an ATM, and I can't remember how their conversation started, but she was like, I got to get my tithe out. And she's like, look, I can't afford to tithe, but I can't afford not to.
That's a good way to look at it, for sure.
So, and don't get me wrong, it's hard cutting that check, every 2 weeks. But you know what? At the end of the day, I just believe if I don't do it, then God's gonna be like, look, if you're not giving back, and then why would I continue to give?
Yeah.
And so what it does to me is it's blind. It shows faith. Whether that people call that blind faith or whatever it is, we went a year using that credit card, whether it was like clothes for the girls, whether it was groceries, whatever it was, we knew we had to have our bills paid first. Yeah. We had to put food on the table second. And I think my wife, that's why she was finally like, you need to go get another job. But through all that, we were blessed to find, like I said, to find you guys, and then to find a company like yours. It just nothing with where I was. I love the people that I was working with at Dick's Sporting Goods. I still go by and see them, but we just had to find something that was more for our family and continuing to grow.
Yeah. So, hey, I do want to finish with this before we close out this episode. Look, share, post this. We want to spread the word because we've got a lot of good topics coming up, and we do want to get the word out to as many people as we possibly can. If you're sitting there wondering, how can I live a higher up life, then this is the podcast for you, because we're going to bring some small tools, small tweaks that you're already probably doing some of this, but how we can try to expand on it to help you grow. And that's why we want to do it. And
real quick, before we do hop off, you talk about living a higher up podcast or a higher up life. It's called the HigherUp podcast. Just before we break, give people there's hopefully going to be a lot of good episodes that we'll have, but just take a moment and share what that means. I mean, you see it's the first thing they see. It's on our logo. It's on everything. It's something that you came up with. This is a phrase that you have, and we've heard you use it before you decided to turn into this. What is that? Why?
So what higher up? I talk about it being the Higher Up podcast. Okay, back in 2011, real quickly, I was on my deathbed, and I'll never forget when the Lord told me. He spoke to me vividly on my deathbed. That He said, "I'm not done with you yet." Mm-hmm. And here we are. It's 2023 now, and 12 years later, I am living my higher up. I got a second chance. And so the whole purpose behind Higher Up is, look, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing, what job you have, what role you might play in your local church, what you can do financially for your church, what you can do in your community, whatever the case may be. What can we do to help the local church take our business mind, our business knowledge, and help put tools in place for your local church to build your local community? Yeah. That's the idea behind HigherUp. How can we take our knowledge and be able to help? Because as we all know, churches struggle from time to time, financially. What can we do to help take them to the next level? Because the average church is 100 people. We talked about that earlier. So what can we do to help the local church do that? Well, you have to have relationships. You have to build relationships. And it really started, Adam, initially it could spin off of HigherUp. We spell it HIGHER, but it could have gone HIRE. How do I hire up? So that was the original thought process behind it. But I tweaked it because I was like, there's so many people out there that talk about leadership, and we wanted to have different leaders on our show. But really the desire now is to make it, the Lord kind of gave me a different twist on it to be able to live a higher up life, because we live for bigger than what we're just passing through this earth anyway. So what can we do while we're here to maximize the efforts that of sharing the gospel to as many people as we possibly can?
I always heard that your gravestone has 2 dates on it: your beginning date and your end date. What everybody forgets about is the dash in between. And what does the dash actually say about your life?
Yep. Hey, let's have fun doing it. Let's have fun talking through it. Yeah. Let's have fun with inspiring other people, because ultimately that's what it's all about. So,
well, you heard like Benji said, right now we're still working through kind of the process with this. I'm hoping we're going to do every 2 weeks or so. We're both, we're traveling. We're trying to get these. We want to make sure we get these in. And look, if we're traveling and we're in the same place, we may record it where we're at just for fun. But like Benji said, subscribe. Hey, on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a review. That really does help. The more reviews you have, just shows those systems like, hey, this is something people should listen to, and it'll suggest those as well. Look, we're going to have social media. We're going to try to be posting some of the just some snippets from these clips just to kind of get you interested. We'll have Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for right now. We'll have those out there so that way you guys can share. Hopefully there's something that gets said that gets shared. Maybe Benji will go viral. Who knows? Hope so. We'll go viral. So nothing I would love more than walking into work on Monday and our team being like, I saw y'all on social media. So, but yeah, we hope y'all have enjoyed it. We're excited. Learn with us. This is a new process for us. I mean, even right now we're just trying to figure out how to have a conversation on camera, honestly.
Yeah. So, like Adam said, connect with us on social media and all. You'll see the details here below, and looking forward to having conversations with some of you.
Yeah. All right, guys and gals. Hey, look, until next time, we'll see you guys.